Kia ora, my name is Riley. I am 20 years old and I recently did the Taiwatia and Tai Whakaora programs. I did the Taiwatia earlier this year and I've just recently graduated with Tai Whakaora. Before Live for More, I was not in a good place. It was pretty dark actually. I grew up sort of without a father, any brothers or any sort of close group of friends. And then once I left high school, I sort of just closed myself off, lost all the friends that I thought I did have and just became sort of alone. And turned to the drugs instead to help cope. Just started smoking and smoking. And it just kept getting worse and worse. I went down a very bad downward spiral. The first time I ever smoked weed was socially to try and fit in and make new friends. And that sort of just continued throughout high school. And I just kept using, lost any friends that I thought I did have, but kept using. Smoking weed was just a way of coping for me. I was quite down on myself, feeling quite low and in a dark place. I was quite negative towards myself and others. I was pretty easy to anger. I would get frustrated over the littlest things. Yeah, a lot of anger, but then that would turn to sadness, and that sadness would just stay with me for days and days. I was always close with my pop because I didn't have a father growing up, and then when he moved in with us, I didn't really realise that at the time, but I guess I sort of looked to him as a bit of a role model, being the only other male. Fast forward a couple of years, I was in uni, in my first year down in the halls, got a call from my mum saying, I got a call from him saying goodbye. Yeah, that took a piece of that was pretty tough. Couple days later, my mum called me and said, like, you need to get home right now. So she booked a flight and I went straight up. He was dead less than a day later. You know, I couldn't really speak to him then, so that was my last time sort of saying goodbye. After my pop had passed, like, my university studies completely fell apart. I got super sick physically and had to drop out of the courses, and then I was meant to go to nationals in that very same month down in Dunedin. I was in the Wellington under-18s national team for hockey, and I was also playing in the university premier team. I was way too sick mentally to do that, but I tried to do that anyway, and I think that was a bit of detriment to myself. I also started suffering from some anxiety attacks. I ended up in the emergency department down in Wellington a few times. I was heading towards a very, very bad place, and I was in a very dark spiral. Live for More has helped me a lot. Be able to have Live for More there to be able to support me and help me through those dark times was pretty special. It helped me learn a whole bunch of new tools and tips and strategies and different skills and things that I can now take out into the world and that can help guide me throughout my journey. The first time that I caught a wave and managed to get up onto the face, I just fell in love. And it's been my goal just to get on the face and try and move up and down it and try and ride the wave as much as I can ever since I caught that first one. It's sort of an addiction, I guess, but I'm happy about this addiction. Very, very happy. Surfing is just so healing and so fun. So fun. So I think it would be pretty safe to say that surfing is going to play a pretty big part in my future. I don't plan on giving it up anytime soon. The course leaders always use surfing as a metaphor, and use waves and the ocean as a metaphor for our life. It sort of got me in the mindset of thinking like that life does come in waves. It goes up and down. Sometimes you'll get dumped and sometimes you'll ride the sickest barrel. I'd say the three things that helped me the most during the Taiwatia and the Tai Whakaora courses were the waves, being out in the ocean, being out in nature, having that peace and that calm around you, and you can just focus in on the waves, forget about life, just see the rolling, see the waves going up and down, and it's so peaceful, it's so calming. Another thing would be our group culture, growing as a team, meeting new people and making new connections, most definitely. Another one would be all the work that we do in our group sessions. It's been pretty cool to be able to go into each session and come out of it, with a whole new perspective. Graduating and sharing my speech felt like a huge release. It felt like I finally wasn't holding things in. It was finally out there for the world to hear. I'm proud of that. It's my story and that's who I am. I would say that the biggest changes in my life have been, number one, my mental health is in a completely different place. I feel like a new person with a new lease on life. And then also my attitude and how I approach different things in different situations and different people. I'm much more confident in myself as well. My name is Riley Hodge, and now I have the confidence to achieve my goals.